Welcome to another episode of Just Cuz, the podcast where two cousins talk about things they love.
Just Cuz. And today we are talking about the long-awaited film Deadpool and Wolverine.
Finally.
No, we didn't do an episode about the Deadpools before this one came out, but it doesn't matter because it's out. And we're talking.
We planned on it, but it's out. We need to talk about Deadpool 3 now. It didn't work out.
Whatever.
We're too busy. But we watched Deadpool 3, and oh my god. Sasha, what did you think of this?
I had such a great time. I can't even talk about it. It was so good. I had so much fun. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to compare it in my brain to the other Deadpools.
Right.
So I rewatched them both before the movie.
Of course, as did I.
The first Deadpool, one of the greatest superhero films ever. I think it's so good. Such a good origin story.
I think it's amazing, but I like the second more.
Really? I love the second Deadpool, but I like it less than the first one. I think the first one is a more cohesive story, you know?
I'll give you that.
Yeah. I just think it's so straight to the point of like who Deadpool is as a character. And the second one is great. It's so much fun, but it's got all these other elements to it.
Right. It's more about X-Force.
Yeah, and I mean, no, it's not really. They die so quickly. Yeah. It's not really about X-Force. But it's about Wade's relationships with other people. And like the first one, you could argue that it's about his relationship with Vanessa, but that's not really it. It's about how he sees himself, and it's about who he is. And I think that the themes of Deadpool 1 and 2, actually, I think the themes of both of them really play into the themes of this third one. And so I was really glad about the direction that they took it. Before we get into any more about the new one, what did you think, Max?
Okay, so obviously I had an amazing time watching this. I loved a lot of it. Probably there's a moment that the story gets started, and from there on out, I was grinning. Just the widest grin on my face, just for like that hour and a half. However, this movie had a lot of problems. A lot of plot holes that I couldn't help but overlook.
You couldn't help but overlook, or you couldn't not overlook?
I couldn't not overlook. Sorry, yeah. Okay. It's late.
Okay. Okay, but that's not the position I thought you would take. Interesting. Okay.
And maybe a lot of those plot holes we can fill up just by talking about this movie. Because I'm really excited to just get into it.
Okay, sorry. First thing, I gotta say it. When he came on screen, I called it. Chris Evans. Guys, Chris Evans is in this movie. Guys! Oh my god.
Did you know that he was not Steve Rogers?
No! But I totally called it. Like, as soon as he showed up hooded, I was like, oh my god. I was there with my friend. I grabbed my friend. I was like, it's Chris Evans. And then he started describing him, and he was like, oh, he's just like us. And I was like, it's Chris Evans. It's Chris Evans. Oh my god, I'm so excited. And then he showed up, and it was him, and I screamed. Everyone in the theater started cheering.
Yep.
And then Deadpool queued him up and was so ready for him to say
he's gonna say an Avengers.
And then he said, "Flame on!" And I jumped out of my fucking seat. Guys, oh my god, he was Johnny Storm. He was playing Johnny Storm.
I knew
so
it.
Good.
As I did not call that it was Chris Evans, but the moment he took the hood off and I was like, no, that's Johnny Storm. That's not Steve.
It was so good. It was so good. And he was like, I was thrown off for a second because he said something like dick biscuits or something. He said he cursed. And I was like, Cap would never. Who is this Joker? And I was like, it's just some weird variant of Cap. But nope. Nope. It was, oh my God. And so not only that, but we also had Jennifer Garner's Elektra in this film. We had fucking
Wesley Snipes.
We had Wesley Snipes
Okay.
Blade in this film. Oh my
I
god.
kind of expected Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, and Jennifer Gardner's Elektra, because those were kind of hinted at in, press, and I think Jennifer Gardner was even like officially cast in this movie a while ago. But Wesley Snipes I didn't expect at all, because Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes hate each other from Blade Trinity.
Really?
Yeah. If you know anything about the production of Blade Trinity.
Blade Trinity. I haven't seen Blade Trinity. I didn't.
Patton Oswalt has a great interview about it where he talks about how, like, the movie, it's terrible. But if you knew the behind the scenes, you'd realize that the editors polished one heck of a turd.
Oof.
And yeah, Wesley Snipes was just terrible to work with. There was a moment where they had to CG his eyes open because the actor didn't want to open his eyes.
The fuck?
Like that. Yeah, it was not good. But I'm impressed that I can't say his name. Wesley Snipes is back. Like, that's, what the hell? Although, in that scene where we see Elektra and Wesley Snipes, we got the biggest cameo that I never would have called, ever. And it's crazy, because Channing Tatum, for like more than 5 years, was going to play Gambit. His movie was in production.
Yeah, it was in production hell forever. And everybody knew about it. And
his line here is like, I think I was born here. I don't know.
Just born in the void. Oh my god. It was so funny.
Goodness.
And then he goes, who's your dialect coach, minion? It was hilarious. Like, no one could understand a fucking word he was saying.
But we are getting ahead of ourselves.
I don't care. Hold on.
The movie...
I'm looking at the cast. Wait, hold on. I'm looking at the cast list right now, and Matthew McFadden's name in the cast list is Mobius M. Mobius. What the hell is that?
That's not right. I'm looking at that too. Someone fix that on Google.
No,
come on.
It's so funny. Oh my god. Okay, so the movie's about Deadpool's universe with all his friends that he's made over the last 2 movies is about to be destroyed by the TVA.
I thought this intro was very strange. Like, that's what set me off. I'm like, oh god, is this movie not gonna be good? I mean,
the
InSync intro was fun, but his costume was just crisp and clean, and I was like, oh, this feels sanitized. The CG feels like it's filmed for like Disney. A 3D audience. I don't even know. It didn't work for me that well.
Interesting. I didn't see it in 3D, so I didn't really feel that it was filmed for 3D. Neither did I. There was just a lot of sequences where, like, a bone would come close to the camera, or blood, or when he was taking his sword out, it went close to the camera. There was just a lot of that. Right. Okay, so the opening sequence, in case you haven't seen the movie and for some reason are listening to this, why? You're dumb.
What are you doing?
You're dumb.
We're going to talk spoilers, obviously. We've already spoiled everything.
Second of all, he starts by saying, how are we going to do... You know the name of this movie. You know why you're here. How are we going to do this without shitting on the corpse of Logan? We're not. The movie Logan. We're not. And then he proceeds to take Logan's skeleton, his adamantium skeleton, and beat a bunch of TVA agents to death.
But not before digging up his grave and knocking over the X.
Sure, yeah.
That was
ruining the end of Logan. Not like ruining it, but it was
yeah.
Ruining it. It was really
in a funny
sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought that they were going to do a similar opening title sequence like they did for the last 2 Deadpools, and I was glad to see that they didn't, because I was like, guys, you can't do the same thing a third time. You know, the second time everyone was like, okay, these ones aren't as funny as the first one, you know? And
really?
I
like the Bond intro more.
No.
I love that Bond intro.
No. I like the Bond intro. It's fun. I was talking about like the...
Oh, yeah, in the third movie.
What he called... No. So in the credits of the first Deadpool, like in the opening credits, it doesn't say anybody's name. It says like
it's just
God's
written by
Perfect Idiot,
the real
written by the
heroes.
real heroes here.
Yeah.
The second one, it's just all a bunch of sad stuff about Vanessa dying, and it's like written by the real villains here. And I'm like, you're just doing the opposite of the stuff you did last time. It doesn't hit as well. The Bond intro was very good and it was hilarious, but the fake names and stuff, like the writing this stuff instead of the names of the people who worked on the movie, it didn't work as well. And I was glad that they didn't do it a third time, because I would be like, it's a third movie, you know, it would be like they're trying to get the magic of the first one back. I thought it was really clever that the credits are in red. They're in Deadpool, you know, suit style, so they're stylized to look like his suit, and they only appear when he does something that causes blood splatter, because he's like beating them to death with Wolverine's bones.
Right. Or he throws a bone in front of the camera, and on the bone you see, you know, directed by Sean Levy or whatever. Right.
But when the credits are like red, they're only when he causes blood splatter, because the whole thing, he's like, I wear red so bad guys can't see me bleed. And I was like, oh, that's clever. I liked that.
I don't even know if I noticed that.
I notice weird things. There are some things I don't notice, and then I just notice weird things that don't really matter. But I did think it cut back to the bye too many times. I was like, this is really long. But
that's the one thing of the credits that I thought we needed more of. Like, honestly, if they just did a full dance sequence, I would have loved that more.
We have differing opinions here. I like the dance sequence. I think he should have incorporated the dance sequence into the fighting, because it was
I like that.
Because it was weird, because he was like fighting normally, and then it would cut to just a screen of him doing the Justin Timberlake dance. Right. And I'm like, why didn't you just do a dance fight? Yeah. We will never say no to a dance fight.
we workshopped it here, and we came up with the perfect intro. Just a full-on dance sequence where he's killing people with the skeleton of Hugh Jackman, long dead. Did like all that.
Right. There's a lot of people. Sorry, I got distracted by the cast list. There's a lot of people listed in this who are not in not in it.
Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny. He's probably in it, but I didn't see him. I don't know.
But also, like, Tara Strong as Miss Minutes. Was she in it? Was Miss Minutes in it? I don't think so.
I don't remember her being in it. But anyway, Deadpool decides to retire for like 6 years. And I did think that was weird. Obviously, it makes sense emotionally later on with how they fill in the characters contextually, but at first I was very taken aback by that.
I think it does make sense for his character that we've seen for the last 2 movies, but I think the retirement definitely makes sense. But what I didn't think made sense... Okay, well, let's talk about that in a second. What I didn't think made sense was him letting Vanessa break up with him, basically. Yeah. Like, him, like, saying to Vanessa, break up with me. Like,
I think that combines with him kind of retiring and giving up in my eyes, because, I don't know, in the second movie it ended with him having this family and under the assumption that they needed him for something. Like, that's the reason why he came back from the dead. And maybe that reason could still be this movie, but we all know that was never part of the plan. And I feel like a lot of it was written backwards. They needed Deadpool to be alone so that he would go search for Wolverine. So then they thought of a reason for him to retire.
But like, I don't understand. Did they need him to be alone? Why couldn't it be just
honestly, they didn't.
Yeah, why couldn't it be just like, he's happy, he's having his good life, he's still there with Vanessa, and then since Logan died, Logan was the core being or whatever it's called, like the anchor being of his universe.
Being, right.
So his universe started to deteriorate, and so he goes in search of a new Logan to save all his friends. Why did he have to be retired? I didn't understand that. Maybe they were like, because we started Deadpool 2 in a happy place before Vanessa died. Maybe they were like, we had to start this one in a sad place. But I don't get that. I think it would have been the same and maybe even more powerful if
because
he was happy.
They're more connected to the characters, and we lose that relationship when he's taken by the TVA.
I mean, I understand the character arc that, because like for his specific character arc in this movie, he had to be downtrodden, he had to be rejected by the Avengers, he had to be he had to have lost his relationship with Vanessa, and he had this arc of like, I'm not doing this because I need it. I'm doing this because they need it. I need to be a hero to save people. But he's already gone on that arc. Like, that was the arc of the second movie.
Yeah. Doing it for Russell.
Yeah.
And his family.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And not just so that he could get Vanessa back. Like, you know?
I felt like that was, like, everything about Wade being alone was written so that it could tug at the heartstrings, especially when the villain is inside his mind. But none of that worked for me. Like, none of that hit. Does that make sense?
It hit for me. It's just thinking about it right now that makes it just like it worked in the context of the movie. But like right now I'm like, but this doesn't really work with the other movies. But
there's also another emotional thing that didn't work for me, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, no, just talk about it now. You mentioned it.
Well, I was Wolverine. Him bringing him back. I don't know if the movie justifies literally digging up his skeleton and the whole emotional thing.
Of course it doesn't, but that's the point. That's the whole point of the beginning.
That's true, and they point it out, but I thought that it was going to, really hit the heartstrings, and they kind of went for it, but the whole reveal that Wolverine went on a killing spree because the X-Men died, like maybe it's just because he's done infinitely worse in the comics in many different storylines, but I didn't think that was that much. Like, I don't think the world would give up on him because of that.
I think it was less about the killing spree and more about the fact that his action caused humans to turn against mutants, and that was his fault.
Did he?
Yeah, he said that. That's why, like...
I mean, I guess maybe...
That's why he was so ashamed.
It's just that none of that was shown.
Yeah, no, none of it was shown.
I would have appreciated that.
The thing about Wolverine in this movie was that he was really good, and you don't really need to do that much character work with Wolverine because we've seen him across so many films, and the audience is going to infer onto him what they already know about him. So the fact that this is a different Wolverine, this is not Logan that we've spent all that time with in Logan and in all the X-Men movies. This is not that one. This is a different one. That doesn't really matter because the audience knows this character played by this actor so well.
Right. They know this Wolverine inside and out.
Deadpool says it. He's like, they're going to have him doing this till he's 90. And
welcome to the MCU. You're in at a bit of a low point.
You know what? It was his choice. I just saw an interview with them. Hugh said, I had this feeling that I wanted to come back, so I called Ryan as they were about to pitch Deadpool 3. And I was like, well, that's your own choice. Good for you. I'm happy about it. But you made this whole big thing about wanting to leave and wanting to never play it again, and then you were like, no, I want to come back. So
I'm fine with him being back. We're going to have another Wolverine anyway.
I'm fine with him being back too, but I'm just saying, if they make you do this till you're 90, you only have yourself to blame.
Right. But I also think that despite the fact that they didn't need to, and also the fact that the only real reason why Wolverine needs to be in this movie and why it's justified, at least in part of my mind, is to see him in a comic accurate suit. though they still go for the heartstrings and they still try to deliver that emotional punch, I
think
it
they
didn't
do.
work.
I thought it worked. For me, it worked because it worked solely because of the one scene with Laura.
Oh my god, that was
Laura's
incredible.
in this movie, guys. X-23, Laura's in this movie.
Oh my god, on YouTube, the final trailer has it in it, which I now know because I watched afterward, but
I didn't.
Someone put Laura in the thumbnail, and that's how I figured out she was in the movie.
Guys, I don't watch trailers. I watched the first trailer for this, and then I said, no more. I will watch nothing else. And I'm so happy I did that because I didn't guess anything. I didn't guess anything except that Loki wasn't going to be in it.
I was kind of still hoping Loki was going to be in it. I was expecting...
That was my only guess, and I was correct.
Yeah, I was expecting every single cameo. And I was spitballing everything that could possibly be in it. So, I mean, that's why when Chris Evans showed up, I was like, that's Johnny Storm. For sure. 100%.
I went in, no thoughts, head empty, and then they killed him off, and then
oh my god,
he was like, it was so funny. First of all, so funny, and then Wade was just like, "It's okay. Do you know what he was doing to the budget?" And I was like, "I bet, girl." Like literally.
They even say that about Magneto. He's like, "Is he gonna be in this?" No, he'd cost too much.
But and then at the end, the post-credit scene.
I still think it's Deadpool's fault.
I hate all of this. I can't believe you guys are making it seem like I got Johnny killed. This is exactly what he said. And you know what? I was like, that sounds exactly like something Johnny Storm would say. Yeah, I fully believe that.
Though Deadpool did not have to repeat it. I still think he got him murdered.
Of course he did, but I mean, there was a camera anyway, so she was gonna find out at some point. And
Johnny dying, like, it decreased the budget immediately, but I also liked how it set the stakes of, oh crap, Sandra Nova can do a lot, like whatever the hell she wants.
It doesn't matter. The budget doesn't matter. They're Disney now. They were shelling out everything. But back to Wolverine for a moment. His arc worked for me solely because of his scene with Laura, and he goes, I'm not the right guy. And then she's like, you were never the right guy. Or he was never the right guy. But he became the right guy. Or whatever she said.
I think, she does say, you were never the right guy until you were. Until you were, that's it. God, that... You know what? You're right. Like, that makes the character work for me. And he gets his mask.
Yeah, that was great. I really didn't need flashbacks of him doing all these murders, flashbacks of him seeing the X-Men dead. I didn't need that. I didn't need his entire life story of this alternate Wolverine to be laid out for me. I didn't need that. I know who he is. I know what his problem is. You tell me what his problem is. He's the same guy. You know who the other X-Men are. Yeah.
I mean, I get that, but I wish that... I don't know if it needed to be shown for me to have hit that emotional high, but I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
I mean, it's different for everyone.
I had fun for all of it, you know?
Yeah. It's just that this movie, there are so many movies that exist in vacuums. Deadpool 1, it exists in a vacuum. Like, he makes references, he makes, fourth wall breaks, but that movie exists in a vacuum. It's in its own world. It's before anything gets crossed over, Right. Even Deadpool 2 is. But this movie doesn't exist in a vacuum. This movie is Deadpool specifically entrance to the MCU, and he's right. He says, "I'm Marvel Jesus." If you think about it as the Bible, okay? Mm-hmm. It makes total sense, okay?
We had the Old Testament.
Yeah, the Old Testament, the old Marvel. The old Marvel that was kind of all over the place. And then Deadpool comes in from somewhere else. Godlike being. He comes in and he's like, I'm gonna save everything. And then it's honestly even more of a mess. So I think it tracks.
Which is what leads us into whatever Avengers movie before Secret Wars. I can't wait for whatever the hell that will be. I'll say one thing that I love about this movie was how it canonically tied in all of the Fox movies into the Marvel multiverse while also making the multiversal saga kind of make sense. It's still chaos, but it's meant to be chaos.
I think this is the perfect conclusion to any multiverse storylines in the MCU. I think that Deadpool, like, doing all these things, bringing all the different Deadpools, all the different, like, tying in all the Fox storylines, I think him going, and can we now stop it with the multiverse? Because it's not great, guys. He says that. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Okay? This should be, honestly, okay, I love Loki so much, the show. It's so good. But honestly, this is the last time we should see the TVA. This, or at least for a while, okay? They need us to forget about all the Kang stuff. They need it, okay? They need to move on to a new storyline. Whatever the next big Avengers thing is going to be, it's probably going to be Secret Wars. I think they're going to bring it, because there was a thing going around. They were talking about auditioning Kit Connor for to play Hulkling, and I think they're just going to do Secret Wars, and I think they're not going to do the multiverse stuff, the Kang stuff, obviously.
So Secret Wars very much ties into the multiverse story, and that is going to be the end of it. I definitely agree with you that multiverse stories don't necessarily work, especially when they don't have consequences and you can bring in whatever you character and just bring them back from the dead.
I'm not saying they don't work ever. I'm saying they don't work in Marvel right now, and especially because they made, like, if you talk about it in terms of this movie, they made the anchor being of the multiverse storyline Kang. And Jonathan Majors is not coming back. So we need to move on from that. And
I wish that they could just recast, because I love Kang. I love Kang Dynasty. I would love to see that as a movie. But
they can't. They put, do you know how many times they cloned his face for fucking Ant-Man? They can't recast him.
I wish that they could. Because let me tell you, Kang Dynasty could be spectacular. But we're never going to see it. We're going to see some other Avengers movie that will somewhat tie into the multiverse. Because Secret Wars is going to end that, for sure.
I'm going to be honest.
We're going to see all the X-Men.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't really jiving with it. I liked Loki. I liked WandaVision. I liked certain things. But you know what? The Multiverse of Madness was a flop. I'm sorry, Sam Raimi. Like, it was well made. But you did my girl Wanda dirty. She's everything to me. She's everything to me. I was at Disneyland the other day, and I saw a girl wearing a Taylor Swift Eras style Disney princess t-shirt and carrying a WandaVision backpack. And I said, you are my icon. I will do anything for you, random lady at Disneyland. Anyway.
I still like Multiverse of Madness and
it's
fun. All the auteur stuff it does. And I still like Wanda, and I really almost want to see her come back as like a full-on villain if she's gonna do that.
No. She can't come back as a villain, Max. She had so much character development, and then they just threw it all away because they were like, the Darkhold corrupts, she's evil now, she's doing horror movie villain stuff. And I'm like, no.
Honestly,
if she comes back, she just has to be a
Yeah.
mother, you know?
No.
Like, she could just...
My
like,
one
that,
problem
and that sucks, because I
was
love her
that
so
the
much.
the dumb I don't know why we're talking about Multiverse of Madness, but the dumb explanation of the Darkhold. I wish that it was just Wanda doing all that.
I don't. They didn't even watch WandaVision. No, okay. This is a conversation for another time, because it's gonna I'm gonna get very angry. But speaking, like, going back, like, the multiverse stuff wasn't really working when Loki season 2 ended and was like, okay, they all exist now. I'm, you know, the god of time or whatever Loki is now.
Right.
He's awesome. That's his official title, awesome. When that ended, I was like, great, and we can be done with Kang. Can we just, like, stop it now? Because we can't do it anymore. And I think this was a perfect cap, because it brought back all of that stuff. It was like, I think the thing that this drew from most was Loki.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
no, I would say this
MCU.
drew from all the Fox movies. Like, this was just a cap on all the Fox universe
No,
stuff.
but I'm saying as far as the MCU goes. As far as the MCU goes, like, the thing that connects Deadpool to the MCU is Loki through the TVA. You know?
And even Deadpool saying, like, oh, Loki season 1, episode 5. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Alliance from Loki season 1, episode 5.
That was great.
That was really good. But yeah, and I think it's the perfect cap on that storyline for the MCU. And it's because they know it. And Deadpool's like, he said it. You're joining at a bit of a low point. Welcome to the MCU. You're joining at a bit of a low point. You know, that's true.
They're able to poke fun at themselves, which I appreciate.
And now we can be done and do something else. I don't know what it's gonna be, because I've heard varying things about the new Captain America movie coming out. I don't want to talk about it right now, but heard not so great things. And that sucks. But
of Deadpool,
we'll see.
I mean, honestly, kind of just look into the future, and I do have plenty more to talk about with the movie itself. But we have Deadpool and a new anchor point Wolverine in whatever number they have in that Fox universe, and that is still existing.
It was 10005.
Yeah. And then we have the sacred timeline, which is apparently 616, which is definitely not 616. Kevin Feige, get your shit together. But anyway, it's the sacred timeline.
And that's so confusing, because what did it used to be? It was like 22 something.
It was no, they say it in Across the Spider-Verse. It's 199999.
Oh,
or something
you're right.
Like that.
You're right. You're right. Because they're all over the place, okay? Because it's the 616 is the comics universe.
Yeah. Like the
and
original comic universe.
Yeah. Because I'm sorry, but what's his fucking name? Hogan, whatever. I keep trying to call him Hulk Hogan. It's not Hulk Hogan.
Hell yeah, brother.
No, fuck him. No. Happy
yeah,
Hogan.
No, seriously, fuck him.
Happy is not fucking in the 616. I'm sorry. Okay, he's not. Jon Favreau doesn't exist in the 616 universe.
No, I'm ignoring the number. It's just the sacred timeline to me. But we have those two timelines, and I have heard rumors, just rumors, that we could have the next Avengers movie, or even part of Secret Wars, being those two being some sort of the last, having to go to war with each other, and then we get X-Men versus Avengers, which... Yeah. I don't love that comic, but god damn it, that could be spectacular.
Well, we also have to figure out, because at the end of the Marvels, Monica went to a world with X-Men.
I think it's this Fox universe. I think that's where she is.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right, because I was thinking about, like, in Deadpool's universe, which beast is it? And I think I think that's the right beast.
Yeah.
But I thought it looked more futuristic, but that just might have been where they were. I don't know. But we'll see. I don't necessarily want too much more multiverse hopping from
They
them.
they know that audiences don't want it. They're going to keep it to a minimum. But I
And it's
guarantee
just
you,
like it's not that audiences don't want it, because
Mhm.
it
It could be
works.
great.
It works in some places. It works in Everything Everywhere All at Once. It
Oh my
works in
goodness.
Spider-Verse. It's
Mhm.
so well done there. But Marvel's just been fumbling the bag, or the ball, or whatever
Mhm.
that expression is.
Whatever you want to call it.
Um
Which sucks
and
because a lot of their movies isolated are a lot of fun. Everyone hates on the Marvels, but god damn it, it's fun.
I liked the Marvels, okay? There was singing and dancing and cats, and I loved it, okay? Sue me, whatever. I like to have fun at the movies. I don't like to hate on
Right.
women.
There's no point in that. It doesn't matter who's on screen, if it's a woman, if they're black, who gives a shit? Just watch them do cool action.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Blake Lively was in this movie.
Yeah. She was only a voice. Was she actually putting on the costume?
I think she would have done. Probably not. It was probably a stunt actress, but she probably was there for the walk at least. Like that entrance,
yeah,
iconic. She played Lady
Iconic.
Deadpool. Mm-hmm.
Of all of the cameos, I guessed one that was way too out there. There's no way I would have guessed the new Wolverine, which we gotta talk about. But
wait,
I thought
was that in it? Did I miss it? What happened?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Henry Cavill.
Wait, was that real? I thought it was just a joke. Is Henry Cavill the new Wolverine for real?
I thought that it was a little bit of a joke at first, maybe something on the level of John Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic because everyone had been fan casting him. But the way that Deadpool introduced him and he said, "Don't worry, we're going to treat you better than those kids down the street," or something like that.
Yeah.
That tells me that Henry Cavill is actually going to be playing Wolverine in the new X-Men.
I didn't think so, but okay. That would be cool if it did.
I'm like 99% sure. Which honestly, it's a good casting. I like it.
If they have they announced that?
Not officially, at least not yet. Marvel's still got another day at Comic-Con, so maybe.
That's true. Well, we'll see. I didn't think that I thought it was just a joke because people were talking about that on the internet. They were like, Henry Cavill should play new Wolverine.
Yeah. Well, there was casting, like Henry Cavill was officially cast as someone in the X-Men, and everyone thought that it was Cyclops.
Oh wait, was that real?
I'm pretty confident that was real.
Oh. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll have to see. Also, guys, this movie was made for $200 million. I'm curious, how much was the original Deadpool made for?
So the original, I want to say...
It was made for... No, that's Deadpool and Wolverine. Why did that pop up? I want the first one.
I know the second one was like $100 million, and this one is double that. I know the first one is very, very low.
What? That doesn't seem right. It says 782.8 million. I don't think that's right.
No, the first one was 58 million.
Yeah,
which is a lot of money. I would love to have that in my pocket right now. I could live off of that. But for a movie,
for a superhero
that's nothing.
Movie, that's pretty cheap. And you know what? Deadpool. Obviously you needed this budget for all the people. Right. It was really based on the people because they didn't do that much different.
Honestly, there's plenty of sequences in this movie that look stellar. Mainly Deadpool and Wolverine whenever they fight, cool. There's some CG that's a little off, but everything else in the action did kind of fall flat for me. Especially when we saw Elektra, Blade, and Gambit, they were fighting, and maybe they were trying to hide the fact that those actors weren't good at the choreography, so they put in shaky cam. But wow, I did not like that moment of action.
Oh, really? I liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it because I was just so struck. I was like, oh my God, it's them. We haven't seen them in forever.
I was so excited to see him in action.
I just gave them grace. I was like, they're a little old. It's fine. They've been in the void for a while. I didn't mind it. You know who was great? Laura. She was fucking excellent. She was exactly the same as she was when she was a kid.
No, we got some fun action where she's taking out the Juggernaut, but she was still part of that shaky cam. I don't know why this sequence was filmed like that. Like that
shaky cam? I didn't notice that at all.
You got to watch that scene again and just pay attention to how it was filmed. It was god awful.
Because I thought that it was just
terrible.
like, I noticed it was close-ups. I didn't notice a shaky cam.
It should have. I would have even been fine with the shaky cam wide shots if we pushed in and had insert shots that showed us clear action and the characters doing stuff, because we didn't have that.
Was it like handheld? I thought we did.
Yeah.
I remember some shots of Gambit. Like
there are some,
like a push-in doing
there's
things.
One of Gambit doing his card trick, and that's awesome. And then there's another where Laura slides on the ground and cuts Juggernaut's legs off. And those two are fantastic. And maybe there are more that I'm just not remembering, but as a whole, that sequence really let me down.
Honestly, I was paying way more attention to Deadpool and Wolverine. I was just like, I was like, this is just, on the side.
And you know what? Right after that, or not even right after that, but maybe 20 minutes after that, there's a one take where Wolverine puts on his mask, and there's a little bit of CG in that one take, but holy crap.
It was so
made
good.
up for everything. I loved it.
Good. Guys, it was great. And then all the Deadpool, they killed all the Deadpools, and then they all got right back. wait, we haven't even talked about my favorite character.
Dogpool?
Nice Pool.
Really?
He was so funny. Oh my god.
I thought that his costume looked like what it would be if the MCU had full control over what Deadpool would look like. Like, it's got too many lines and parts to it. It was every complaint of what MCU costumes look like. It was perfect.
Everything to me. He had long hippie hair. He was so nice and Canadian. And
what did he do? I can break the fourth wall too. The proposal.
Oh yeah, he was like I can make sly little nods to the fourth wall as well. And then Deadpool started using him as a human shield, and then he goes, "Okay, how long does it take for your healing factor to kick in?" And he goes, "Healing factor?"
And he's just riddled with bullets.
Big stupid smile on his face. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
And even the part where Deadpool is like, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" And he's like, "Come on."
He's like,
"Look
"Come
at
on,
this."
guys. I'm Ryan Reynolds." Oh my god.
I thought you were going to say Dogpool, because I loved Dogpool.
I loved Dogpool, but what I loved more was just how everyone reacted to Dogpool. They were all, every single Deadpool was like, "Precious."
I wasn't sure about Dogpool, and then there was the shot of, I don't know, Nice Pool or Wolverine or someone talking to Wade, and the dog is just licking his mouth just as much as he can, and I was like, you know what? This is great.
It was a Nice Pool talking to Wade. It was so funny. And that was actually the only thing that I was spoiled for. Was Dogpool, was because I was watching a YouTube video and the trailer popped up and it was like I couldn't skip it, and it was just showing me Dogpool, and I was like, oh my god.
I did know about Dogpool because there was some ugliest dog in London competition that dog has won 3 years in a row, and Ryan Reynolds fought to get the dog in the movie, and I knew that story beforehand.
Like, I want the ugliest dog.
And he got him.
That's so funny. Oh my god. Okay, I want to just make a quick full circle, because I was talking about Deadpool, like Wade's whole character arc, specifically involving Vanessa. And I wanted to bring it back because I did want to say that I think, and I thought this for the second one too, I think that their reliance on his relationship with Vanessa is a bit of a crutch for his character.
Yeah. In every movie, it's been used as a plot device.
Yes, and I thought it was fine for the first one. I thought it was great. It was a smaller movie. It was a really good way to show his interpersonal connections and what his driving force was. And it wasn't, because his driving force in that movie wasn't just Vanessa. It was to get back to himself, to feel like himself again, because he had his sense of self taken from him. By cancer and then by all those, experiments and Ajax and whatever. But, yeah, in the second one, I was glad they killed her off, I thought it made for a really interesting story, and I don't stand for fridging with women. I want to say that right now. I am against fridging women.
But they also don't really fridge her.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. They kill her, and that's his driving force for the entire movie. That's 100%. Fridging.
But she's not gone. They kind of keep her character, and in fact, they kind of turn her into death, which, as a comic book fan, I was like, oh, that's cool. But
I don't think they turn her into death. I think they turn her into... I don't think that's her. The thing is, I think the actress is still there. I don't think that's her. I think that is Wade. I think that's his own brain.
I like that theory. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I just thought it was the best move for his character, because I do think that he needs to be grounded with a family, but I thought that worked really well to give him Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. It's crazy that she doesn't have an actual name. That's just
that is her name. What are you talking about?
and Yukio and Peter and Blind Owl and
I mean, while you're listing them off, I could have used Cable and Domino, especially Domino.
Yeah,
I don't know why she wasn't there.
Because Cable went back to the future, right?
Yeah, you can write him out. That's fine. But where's Domino?
Yeah, where's Domino? I mean, Dopinder obviously has to be there. I can't believe Shatterstar was there and not Domino.
Why?
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm fine with the fact that Deadpool went back and saved Shatterstar. I do have the question of why.
Because for the lulz, no other reason.
What?
For the lulz.
That's fair. Or maybe he regenerates. I don't know.
But it was crazy that Shatterstar was there and not Domino. Domino was such a big part of the last movie. They needed to get her back. I don't know why they didn't.
And not just that, Domino is such a important Deadpool character. I don't know why she wasn't there. I really like her too.
Also,
she's awesome.
Where the fuck was Russell?
Yeah.
Wasn't
he was
the whole
a big
last
part of the
movie
family
about Deadpool basically adopting Russell?
Yeah.
Where was that kid?
I don't know.
And
I
just feel like I feel like relying on Vanessa again was a crutch. And I don't think she should have been brought back to life. I know it was a really funny sequence at the end, and it was great that he got to go back and shoot Ryan Reynolds before he did Green Lantern. That was so funny. And he shot the other Deadpool from Wolverine Origins in the head. Great. Excellent. Hilarious.
Just a billion times. Just kept on shooting him.
But I don't think they should have brought Vanessa back to life.
No.
And think...
if you do bring her back to life, do what we were kind of saying in the beginning of this video, where you just have him be happy and you can still do the same emotional story. It doesn't change that much.
Because I think it's more about his whole family. And I think also, Deadpool, he is so funny as a character, and I think he needs to not be in a relationship because he could just fuck anyone at any time, and I think that is part of it. I think that's part of it. In the comics, that's part of his character.
Exactly. If you have
He's
a hole,
always talking. Yeah.
It can be an inanimate object. He will try to have sex with it.
He's
just
who
always
he is. Trying to fuck Spider-Man and Wolverine and everyone. And I'm I wanted that to happen. And okay, you know what? I'm gonna go on a little rant here because
Okay.
you know what?
Okay. Let's hear it.
At the end of the movie, when they are done and they got shawarma, they're done fighting and they get shawarma. And he's like, the Avengers invented shawarma. And crazy.
All right.
And then Wolverine starts to walk away. And Deadpool stands up all dramatically. And he goes, Logan. And then it smash cuts to a door opening. Me and my friend both, like, we looked at each other. And I, like, grabbed her arm. And I was like, we fully thought it was going to do a smash cut of, like, in rom-coms where they like do a dramatic thing on in the street where one of them yells each other's name and then it smash cuts to a door opening and they're making out, right? I thought that was gonna happen and they're like falling into the apartment making out. I really thought that was gonna happen.
You know what? I'll accept that didn't happen, even though I too wanted it to happen, because just like in Challengers, every fight scene was just code for them having sex, and they fought a lot in this movie.
They did, but it wasn't like I'm sorry. Challengers was cinema. This was of...
It's just similar.
No.
I'm not saying this movie's to the level of Challengers.
I know what you're saying. It was full of... All of their fights were full of little innuendos that Deadpool was making. Fully aware that that's what he was doing. And he was like... Oh, well, these, like, even the fight moves that he was doing were innuendos. Right. That's different than what Challengers is, in my opinion, because I think Challengers is, like, on a completely different level. But, because Deadpool is also so self-aware of the jokes that he's making, but he's also not, he doesn't mean them. Like, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool doesn't mean them because he loves Vanessa, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where I think it falls short. I think he, after the first one, after the end of the second one, I think he needs to be unattached. I think he needs you need that threat of Deadpool's gonna come fuck you, okay? If you're not careful.
Oh god.
Not like in a rapey way, but like
I'm just remembering in the first movie where he's like, if you surrender now, I will treat you very nicely, maybe even lover-like treatment. That's the kind of Deadpool we need.
Treatment. Exactly. And I mean, no, he is like that. He talks the talk, but he doesn't walk the walk. Okay? We all wanted him to fuck Cable in the last one, and he didn't. You know why? Because these movies are full of fucking cowards. It's the same reason that Henry Cavill and John Cena didn't kiss in fucking that horrible movie.
Yeah, what was that called? Oh my god. Argyle. That's what it was.
Yeah. Fucking cowards. Okay? They should have kissed. They should have kissed.
Yes.
They were fictional. They were figments of her imagination. Any woman will tell you. If they're imagining themselves as a man and their partner as a more attractive man, those men will be kissing. Is that fetishizing? Maybe, but I don't care, okay? I just want some goddamn representation from these big burly Hollywood men. And I think that Deadpool should have at least kissed Wolverine just once. Because this was his pinnacle. He's been talking about Wolverine for 3 fucking movies, okay? Literally, the first movie starts with him saying he fondled Wolverine's testicles,
and the second movie Down Under, you know.
And the second movie starts by him saying "fuck Wolverine." He made this big thing in Logan about dying. Well, I'm gonna die too, motherfucker.
Yeah, everything he's done has been about Wolverine, which does tie into the whole anchor point thing, which is nice, but
yeah, that's good.
I don't know if they
I didn't even think of that. No, Ryan Reynolds is just obsessed with Hugh Jackman.
You know, kind of changing the subject a little, and I can't think of too much else to talk about with this movie, other than I'm confused as to why Paradox grabbed him in the first place.
Grabbed.
And I'm hoping that maybe you can answer that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he said it.
What does he need him for?
Because he said, it wasn't for him. It was for the sacred timeline. He said that you have a future on the sacred timeline. And that you
so
need
his
to fulfill. That's why that whole thing with Thor was. He was like, "Why is Thor crying?
Okay.
He's holding me. Thor has to hold me." That's
and all the jokes where he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, Thor."
Thor, yeah.
That was good. but I guess it kind of makes sense if Paradox's superiors pulled him out and
basically his motivation wasn't to destroy the sacred timeline. He was like, I disagree with the changes that were made in Loki season 2. I think that we should still be just doing one timeline and we should prune all the other timelines. But I can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
so
this
timeline's
gonna Yeah, it's gonna die anyway, so I might as well just prune it now.
No, because so basically his motivation was his job was to sit for 1,000 years and look after this dying universe, and he didn't want to do that. He was like, I don't like this. I wish I could just prune it and go back to how things were because I don't like my new job. He was just like being a petty little bitch. I'm like, why don't you just quit your job? Okay, you can do that now. You don't have crazy overlords.
The TVA, they even said it. We're more wacky now.
Yeah, it's like you just have Mobius, and you can Mobius and you could just say, I'd like to quit, please, and he'd be like, fine. But yeah, I don't think his motivation was to just like destroy the sacred timeline, because
no. I mean, he has the pretty terribly written line where he literally says that I want to control the TVA. And I guess that is his motivation.
I think he only wants to control it because he doesn't like the changes that were made. I don't think he like, cause like, you know, you can go like, oh, well, he worked for the TVA before when it was the way that it used to be. I'm sure that wasn't his motivation then to rule the TVA. He just liked how it was then. He just doesn't like how it is now. Yeah, and I don't, because I think if his motivation was to destroy the sacred timeline, because like that was Cassandra's motivation.
Yeah, that was
she
his
wanted
machine
to
being
everything.
turned to something else. Yeah,
yeah.
And I liked Cassandra up until that point, until she became like the cackling villain of I'll destroy all multiversals.
Right. Honestly, I thought they should have just let her go back to
the void.
Whatever. The void. Yeah, she was like happy there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
she was chilling.
You know, in Deadpool 2, when they're talking about, like, they're in the car or something, and Negasonic or Domino or someone says something about, like, saving the planet, and then Deadpool goes, planets. You know, like, planets are so... Saving planets is so not Deadpool's thing. And this movie tackles that. Like, because, like, he's like... he's not the saving planet type. He's the shooty, make a joke guy. He's not, he's not the Avengers
type.
He's not the Avengers type. He's not doing things. He's not doing things because other people need it. He's doing it because he needs it. You know, that's what Happy says at the beginning, right? And I like that I mean, we already talked about this. That was his arc in the second movie. And I like that he becomes, you know, able to sacrifice himself. But that was also the thing in the second movie. Maybe I didn't like it. I don't know. I mean, I liked the movie.
Yeah,
but
clearly
thinking about it makes me go like, ooh,
yeah, well, maybe it didn't make too much sense. Yeah, like, to summarize, too long didn't read. I thought that the movie was so much fun. I loved every second of it, but my God, is it riddled with plot holes.
I don't agree that it's riddled with plot holes. I think that, which is like totally fair of you to say that. I didn't feel like there were any plot holes. I felt like it was too derivative of the themes of Deadpool 2. Not in, like, the actual things that were happening in the movie, but the themes, the central arc of Deadpool himself. I felt like that was derivative of the second film. And also, I don't really care because I really liked it.
Yeah, it was fun. But I mean, maybe too many plot holes isn't the right way to put it. I think it was written backwards, a little contrived, and the emotional beats just didn't hit as hard as they should have.
I agree with all those points. I think it might be different on a second watch. You know, I only saw it once, and I was taken by all of the surprises, by the cameos, by the things I wasn't expecting. You know, maybe I feel differently, because I definitely felt differently when watching Deadpool 2 again.
Upon rewatches, I think I initially, like, in the theater, I didn't like Deadpool 2, but then it was upon rewatches where I was like, oh crap, this is really way smarter than I gave it credit for. So maybe the same thing will happen with the third. I don't know.
Maybe. I really liked Deadpool 2. I originally liked it better than Deadpool 1. But on a rewatch, I like Deadpool 1 better, but that's not to say I don't like Deadpool 2, because I do. I love it. Like, I love it. But
they're
Deadpool
so
1
neck
is
and neck
so
for me.
Concise. Yeah.
It sucks that Deadpool 3 is, like, objectively the worst out of the three. That's not saying much because they're all three really fun. But
I wouldn't say objectively the worst. Okay. I think it's gonna take some more rewatches.
And some time to mull it over, because I guarantee I'll probably change that opinion.
Yeah, and also all of these things that I'm thinking of about the themes, I'm just thinking of them now as I'm talking. I cannot tell you how little I have thought since watching this film. I took 0 notes and have had no thoughts, head empty all day. So I am coming up with all these now, so they might just be right out of my ass. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're both recording this after a long day of work, so some of us we're just a little tired.
But you know what? We get up every day and we do it for Kamala.
Yes. Our future president. Amen.
Do it with for that Kamala, said,
guys. Let's move on to the consumption corner, where we're just starved for content. Sasha, aside from voting for Kamala, what have you been consuming lately?
Well, honestly, my whole For You page has become just about politics, which is so upsetting to me. Ugh. Yeah. But
no matter how hopeful we get that light at the end of the tunnel, it still is depressing.
It's so depressing.
But anyway.
Anyway, I have been I finished watching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and I know I talked about it already. I mean, rewatching. But if there's anyone out there who loves musicals who hasn't seen this show, get on it immediately. So good. Even if you don't like musicals, if you just like music, you'll like it. It's a great show. It's very well written. Second, I started Has Been Hotel, which is okay. I've only seen like 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I've heard it's really great, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Like, is the actual show the same thing as the YouTube show?
I have absolutely no idea.
I've seen some of the YouTube show. I did not know it was a
YouTube show.
It started out on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of that, but I haven't seen the actual show, which I don't know if is different. I have no idea.
Okay. I did know that it was like a personal project that got picked up by Amazon Video and turned into a show. I didn't know it started on YouTube. I don't know anything else about it, except that some Broadway stars that I know are in it. That's all. It's okay so far. I haven't really gotten deep into it, but you talk while I think of something else.
Well, I have been very busy rewatching, the first two Deadpools, the first two X-Men's, because I'm not going to
Mm.
watch the third. I watched
Oh my
Wolverine and
God,
Logan.
that's what I should do. I didn't do any of that. I should have done that.
Yeah.
That was my
I was
freaking
planning
childhood.
on watching Fantastic Four 1 and 2 and maybe even Fan Four Stick, but I couldn't make myself
I'm
do that.
so sorry. First of all, how dare you? Not Fan Four Stick. Fan Four Stick is awful. But the first two Fantastic Four movies, cinema. Cinema!
I'm sorry. Have you seen them lately?
Yeah, they're horrible in an
Yeah.
amazing way. They're incredible. Okay, blind
I'd
Kerry
prefer to
Washington
watch
is in
the-
love with the Thing. That's
No.
incredible. That's
No.
so good.
I would prefer to watch the unreleased 90s movie, which is terrible, but you can find on YouTube.
No, I've seen it on YouTube. No, oh my God, you don't like Reed Richards dancing with his long Elastigirl arms? That's hilarious.
Hell no.
It's so good. You don't like Chris Evans, Johnny Storm in a hot
Well, of
tub,
course I
making a
love
hot
Chris
tub in the
Evans,
ice.
Johnny Storm. That's why I popped up when I saw him.
It's so bad. It's so funny. Also, I love Julian, whatever his last name is, who plays Doctor Doom, because
McMahon.
he was Cole in Charmed. Like,
Yeah,
shout out to the
he is a
Charmed
good Dr. Doom.
girlies. They did
Not-
Cole dirty in Charmed.
Not a good Doctor Doom interpretation, but the actor
No.
did a good job with what he was given.
He's so good at playing villains. He was in the Runaways on Hulu.
Oh yeah. Oh my
He was
god.
the villain in that.
It's been so long
Very
since
good
I didn't even
actor.
finish that season.
I think I did finish it. I just don't remember what happened.
I fell off hard.
Yeah,
But-
it was not the greatest show in the world, but
No.
it had Cole from Charmed and it had Mason from Wizards of Waverly Place, so you know I'm watching.
So I am seated.
Oh my gosh. I started reading. Wait, did I already tell you about this? I might just be repeating everything from the last
Well,
concept
it's also
recording
been
that we
so
did.
long since we recorded.
It has. I really don't remember. But no, I think because I just started reading this, but I'm almost done because it's very short. I am reading This Is How You Lose the Time War by
Okay, I don't think you have mentioned this.
two different authors who I forget the names of. But
Okay.
it's so good. I'm almost done with it. It's a great book. It's so short. It is okay. So it's a sci-fi story that is entirely taking place between letters back and forth
Okay.
between two agents of competing time agencies.
What is this
making
called?
changes in time. This is how you lose the time war. And it's a time war between two agencies, and they're both like, it's kind of like, the TVA, like they're trying to do stuff to make their sacred timeline work. It's like there's two different agencies doing that simultaneously, going throughout time, changing things for their own gain. And two of the agents, they start leaving letters for each other all throughout time and space, but it's not really like the way that they leave letters has to be so secretive, so they're like in different things, like it's not just like a piece of paper letter, like I can't even describe it. It's so brilliant the way that they do them.
Well, I'm definitely gonna read this because usually you'll recommend a book and I'm like, yeah, I'll check that out. But this I need to check this out.
I think you definitely should read it. It's so good. It's a beautiful story. It evolves into like love and romance, and it's so good. Oh my god, I haven't finished it yet, but when I do, I'll let you know.
I got a billion things on my list, but I will definitely read this.
Move it up. Wait, I need to tell you something when we stop recording. Remind me.
Okay. But I have also been to the movies lately, and I watched one at home that was, unfortunately I couldn't watch because my small town theater just wasn't showing it, but In a Violent Nature, which I don't know if you've heard of this, but
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it is. I don't know if I loved it, but man, it was intriguing as hell. Just every little new bit of information that I got about this Jason-esque character that I was literally just with for the whole movie. Man, it was a lot of fun.
Interesting. What was the other
But I
movie?
also watched Longlegs, which was said to be the scariest movie of the year. Not that scary.
Everyone said it was terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was incredible as a detective thriller, but it was completely misadvertised as this horror jump scare, it's gonna make you shit your pants movie. But no, it was just a really good detective mystery.
Interesting. I had a lot of friends who saw it and said it was trash. So that's really interesting that you say that. I'll have to.
It was just the presentation for me. I think that made it work.
Well, maybe it's because people were going in expecting a horror film. So
yeah, and it's not that.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, it's intense, but it's not a horror movie.
Right. Okay. Say the thing that I've been waiting for you to say. Say it right now.
I was actually gonna save it for our next episode because we are gonna record soon.
Yeah.
I say we talk about it then. Give a little bit of a hint for those listening. What could we be talking about?
No, you're giving me blue balls, man. No.
We'll talk about it, and maybe we'll also talk about the show that you promised to watch.
Oh right.
Maybe that'll give you some time.
I'll get on that. I have been watching and seeing other stuff, but I literally can't think of any of them. This always happens. This is why I should take notes, but I don't. I never will.
See, I have everything in my notes, but I still forget so much. And I also leave it out and save it for next week, and then I forget to add it. But hopefully we'll talk about it. We will.
I'll remember something.
We got an episode about the Acolyte and the boys. We're late, but we will.
We will
be talking about those.
That's the stuff I've been watching, but that's why I didn't say it. Okay, great. Yeah. Cool. I'm not behind it all. That was totally on purpose. Yes.
Yeah. Tune in next time for us to be talking about those. Is there anything else you wanted to mention? Anything you've been consuming?
Food.
Food is good. I had pizza today. It was good.
I'm really tired. So I think we should stop.
I need to wake up early for work. So this has been a podcast where we finally got Wolverine versus the Hulk.
What? That's not what I thought you were going to say. Okay.